Okay, so it turns out that we had no audio for the last 10 minutes or so. Apologies to everyone. These things do tend to happen. So once again, we apologize for the lack of sound. We did do announcements on all the race starts. Right now, we are at the final start of the day, our Elite and Master women. So quickly, we will just do a quick run over of who we have in the race today. We've got Paulina Allen, Ariane Arsenault, Dylan Baker, Anne-Marie Carter-McCausland, Holly Clark, Kelly Cullen, Gabby Eady, Evelyn Gagnon, Noemi Gaudreau, Maria Gonzalez Narea, Franny Jewett, Isabella Catherine, Deirdre Maloney, Shauna Novak, Rosa Phillip, Austin Roseborough, Nancy Schmaler, Evelyn Sifton, Hannah Spence, Chantel Thompson, and Anna Ticoles. All right, 15 seconds to go, ladies. Start spinning up and getting that wattage up for the start in 10 seconds. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and they're off. Our final group is now on course here in the OCA Indoor Road Race Series number 6, the Innsbruck Ring course. Before we head on over to take a look at what our A groupers are doing, I just want to thank everyone for joining us today, and thanks for letting us know that there was no sound, so we got that fixed. Hope you enjoy the live stream today. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel so you know every time that we're doing a live stream. And for those of you who are inquiring how to donate to keep the live stream going, you can check in the description. We have a link to buymeacoffee.com/ARC-events where you can throw a few dollars our way to help support this channel and keep it running. All right, moving on over to our A racers. Let's go and find out where they are. Looking for our top rider, Kai Johnson, currently sitting in fourth. Let's zoom on over to him. And it looks like they are on the back half of the course. It looks like we have already passed the leg snapper, as they are 7.2 kilometers into the course, which means they are on the flat on the other side heading back towards the start. So we missed the first climb up the hill, but looking at the overhead, it looks like we've lost a few riders. I'm counting maybe 15 or 16 riders in this main group, so there certainly is a separation between the front. We've got, taking a look at our start list here. We've got Jason Henry from Draft. Anton Varabai, Toronto Hustle, is in this group. It looks like Brad Parsons from Techie Kids is also here. Kai Johnson, CCF, is in this group. Jojo Rusinek, Greg Boileau, so all of our top riders. Bruce Bird, all of our Laurent Risser, all of our top riders in the Master 1, Elite 1-2 group made it through the first climb up the leg snapper as they come around to complete the first lap of their course. 7 more to go. The Zwift 8 riders are doing 8 laps today. They will be completing 70.6 kilometers on this course. Let's take a look at their stats at the moment. 10 minutes into the race, everything is nice and steady. Riders realize that there is going to be quite a bit of work to do on that leg snapper. They have to go around it 8 times, so they're going to be cruising in around on these flat parts and recovering from that effort. Just checking in with our live stream chat window. Once again, thanks everyone for letting us know that there was no sound and that we've got everything under control now. Currently on screen, we've got our Zwift A racers, and they are just completing their first lap, coming through the finish line there. You see the UCI stripes painted on the ground. That's because this was one of the Road Worlds courses that Zwift introduced a few years ago to add some repertoire to their race courses and not just be in the fictional land of Watopia. All right, so that's the first lap for our Zwift A racers. Let's see if we can find some of our B racers and find out how they are doing. Okay, here we go. I've got Graham Page, one of our elite 3 men, and he is currently sitting in the top 16 of our group, and it looks like everyone is still fairly together. I see quite a few of the OCA codes here on the right side under the list of riders. Fairly large group together. Let's see if I can move up and find out who we've got. Looks like we've got Enrico Magnani leading the charge right now. Graham Page is with them. Benton Henry. Looking at our start list for the B group here. We've also got Diogo Maya. Matt Randall's in the group here. Philip Major. Sometimes it's hard to see who is in the group as the riders are fairly fluid and the names keep jumping around, but it looks like all of our top points leaders in the series are in the group. Speaking of that, let's take a look at our current series point standings for the B group, starting with our Master 2 men. Enrico Magnani is currently leading with 144 points, followed closely by Derek D'Angelo, 132 points. Brian Kingston rounding out the top 3 with 118 points. Justin Kitney is in 4th with 95. David Charles in 5th with 93. James Eaton, who I don't think is racing today, is in 6th with 92 points. Rob Visser sitting 7th overall with 78. David Moyer in 8th with 72. Oaken Work is 9th with 66, but Oaken, I believe, has moved on up to the A group, so he brought some of those points with him, but he still is listed in the Master 2 group from the first race that he did with that group. And finally, in 10th place, Paul Joachim from the Uxbridge Cycling Club. So it looks like Enrico is still leading out the group, putting his nose into the wind and doing a lot of the work there at the front with Dave Moyer, Justin Kitney, and Benton Henry. Still a fairly large group, and they have already completed one lap, so let's see if we can stay with them and take a look at what it looks like to hit that leg snapper. Moving to an overhead view now, you can see how the group is starting to get a little pointy at the front. We've got one rider who is riding alone, being joined by somebody else. That's Benton Henry coming back into the group now all together as they race towards the bridge to cross the river. A little bit of a false flat down after having crossed the river through town. Getting ready to cross it again and then head on over to the big climb. Nice scenic views in the background there of Austria's majestic mountains. And there you saw Justin Kitney just off the back. He's going to have to work to get onto that group. He doesn't want to be in the back if he can help it when they get to the big climb after they cross the river again. It is not a good place to be if you're going to be in a large pack of riders at the back. If you're going to hit a big climb, the good idea is to hit to the front and try to power your way through. And if you do lose a bit of position, at least you're not going to get shut out the back of the pack. Looking on over at the race recon from Zwift, and they talk about the leg snapper itself. It is the most decisive section of Innsbruck. The leg snapper is one of the most demanding climbs in the game, and it's only 450 meters long. However, at 7%, it is sure to catch anyone at the back of the pack off guard. He doesn't recommend patience, the reviewer. It's a full gas sprint every lap. So here we are crossing the bridge at the moment, getting into the cobbles and then the climb shortly thereafter. 16 minutes have elapsed for our B racers, 12.2 kilometers into the course. And they are currently on lap number 2, 6 to go for our B racers as they are doing 7 laps altogether. Lots of ride-ons being given by fellow racers who are in the event or folks that are at home watching. Everyone jockeying for position now. Benton Henry off the front of the group. Enrico Magnani still sitting at number 1, leading out. Now we're on the famed cobble sections just before the big climb. Those of you with smart trainers, you may feel a little bit of rumble. That's one of the neat things about the Zwift program. Enrico Magnani getting at the pointy end of the race, wanting to be the first one to the base of that climb. All right, here we go. The percentage is starting to climb, and we are now in the big 8% climb in the Innsbruck Ring course. A lot of riders using their power-ups now. Lots of green feathers looking for that lightweight ability going up the leg snapper. And it looks like Enrico is taking a nice pull off the front, trying to be the first one to the top of the climb as we pass another rider who is having some difficulty getting up the climb. And there you go. He's crested it and now heading down the nice big relieving a descent, gaining some speed, getting over 60k an hour, seeing how many riders were left behind. Let's take a look at the overhead view and see what we got. Nice little group of 6 riders here at the front. And other riders are furiously trying to get back on after having been dropped a little bit on that climb. Looks like we haven't lost too many of our riders here, but it still was a difficult climb. And as we do this 5 more times with the B group, we might see quite a bit more attrition. All right, so we're just waiting to see if we can get Rob Visser on the line here. He's going to be joining us shortly to discuss the race so far. He is in the B group. And if we take a look at the group, let's see if he is still with our lead group. Looks like he has fallen off of the back there a little bit. That's unfortunate for Rob, but hopefully we'll be able to get his view of what happened in the first couple of laps of the race. While we're waiting for Rob to join us, let's see if we can pick up the C riders and to see how they are doing. Here we go. I have now joined the C race, and I've got James Allison currently sitting in the top 3 along with Ian Dobos and William Trishuk and Batista Merida, Adam Smart, all together now in the front of our E4 Master 3 race. They're on the cobbles right now, 13.7 kilometers into the race. They are on lap number 2, which means they saw 4 to go when they came through the finish line last time. It also means that they will be heading into the leg snapper section very shortly as they are now crossing the bridge into the climb. So let's keep watch on this group and find out how well they do on the climb as that gradient has just started to kick up now and the wattage is increasing exponentially. Riders are now in the 350 watt range, really pushing it, trying to drop some of their competitors. You see those power-ups flying again, those feather lights trying to reduce their weight as the watts per kilo factor is what Zwift uses to decide where the avatar is going to be placed. And you can see the speed has dropped considerably now. Most riders doing under 20 kilometers an hour, and you can see right now the speed is just excruciatingly slow as these riders are heading up the leg snapper. James Allison still leading out the group right now, putting out an impressive 4.5 watts per kilogram for this climb at the moment. Closely behind him are Ian Dobos and William Trishuk, Adam Smart, and Batista Merida. All right, I just checked our Zoom link, and it looks like we have Rob Visser on the line right now. So let me just head on over and connect with him, and we'll do a quick interview with Rob Visser to find out how the race was going from his perspective. Just give us 1 second here. Rob, can you hear me?
I can hear you. You hear me?
All right, there we go. It's Rob Visser. You are now live on the ARC Events OCA Indoor Road Race Series. How's it going?
Well, pretty much as expected. I dropped from the front group the first time up. There was a bunch of guys. There's about 10 of us. We went up the second time. I think we stayed together. And yeah, we'll just settle in and see if we can't finish at the pointy end of this.
So then you would agree that the leg snapper portion of this race is the primary feature where riders basically use that to get rid of their close competitors. Is that accurate to say?
That's very accurate. So I don't know if it's full gas up every time, but it's certainly pretty close. On the B group, you got to be hitting 6 watts to stay near the front. So
yeah, you
I don't know what the very front does because I'm not there, but yeah, it's a challenging course.
It certainly
you have
is.
to pay attention to stay in the draft the whole way around too. So, yeah.
Did you find that the course itself, outside of the big climb, was fairly moderate, or were there also sections that you found difficult? Was the start fast as well?
Start was fast. First 5 minutes was all orange and red on my graph at the bottom. So quick start, hit the climb, and then settle in with whatever group is around you.
Perfect.
It's hard to chase a pack.
So Rob, you've been with us since the beginning of this series. How would you say that it has turned out? I mean, we have this COVID-19 coronavirus pandemic keeping us inside this summer. How has this been for your riding and training? Has it been a welcome addition to the OCA race circuit?
Yes.
Something that you think that might even be running in the future during the off season?
Yes, I've been on Zwift for, how long has it been around, like 5 years? And I enjoy following how you find a race series that kind of meets your goals. And yeah, the OCA one is one of mine being an OCA member. So happy to race with some of the people that I see outdoors.
Well, that's great. All right, Rob, we'll let you concentrate on running your race there. We'll see if we can get you back later at the end of the race if you want to come back on and just chat about Zwift a bit more. But at that moment, thanks for joining us now, and we'll see if we'll pick you up a bit later.
Sure, thanks, Andrew.
All right, looking back, we still have our C racers on the field at the moment. Let's see if I can pick up some of our D racers. As I mentioned earlier, we don't have that many racing today, so we'll see if we can take a look at each one of them and see how well they're doing. Seems like we're having a little bit of trouble with the companion app. Oh, there we go. All right, here we go. One of our U15 riders, Sagan Gertz, currently 15.4 kilometers into the race. That puts him on a lap number 2, 3 to go at 17.8 kilometers. He'll be crossing the line again, so it looks like he has already been up the leg snapper twice. 2 more laps to go for this young rider. Just going through our start list now, trying to find some of the other D racers on Zwift. All right, here we go. I found Jeff Kwan, our one and only beginner sportif rider, entered in the race. Jeff's doing really well. He is sitting at 7th overall of 40 riders in the Zwift. Only 6 of them are from the OCA list. Part of the reason for that is that we don't close the races. We welcome everyone and all to the Zwift world when we're doing our OCA indoor races. And that allows the field to be a little bit bigger. So we're taking a look at Jeff Kwan. He is now 18.5 kilometers into the race. That means he just saw the 2 to go mark. He's about a kilometer into his 3rd of 4 laps. So good on you, Jeff. We'll give him a ride on here with clicking the big thumbs up. Going back to our start list, let's see if I can pull up a few other riders. Not the best interface to be doing a live stream, but it's what we have to work with. While we're waiting for the riders to show up on the companion app, just want to remind everybody who's watching today to like and subscribe to the channel if they want to get notifications of every time that we go live. Also, if anyone wants to donate to help keep the live stream going and support the channel, you can head on over to buymeacoffee.com/ARC events and make a small donation. Essentially, buy me a coffee. Okay, looks like we have Enrique Martins, one of our Ottawa Bicycle Club riders, and a very strong U17 on the circuit right now. 20.2 kilometers. Enrique is the first overall of our D racers. Very, very strong today, and very good at doing the climb because our youth riders tend to be very light. And as I said before, the watts per kilogram factor is what Zwift uses to move the avatars along in the Zwift world. So if you can put out high wattage, that weight factor will certainly come into play for riders like Enrique Martins. And let's move on over to check out one of our U15 women from Attack Racing, Lillian Pelosa. And it looks like it's not allowing me to head on over. But a big shout out to all of our D-racers in any case. For those that I was able to show on the live stream, good job, keep riding. And for those I couldn't, like Josh Cooper and Tegan Gahn, Sagan Gertz. Oh, nope, sorry, we got them. And then Lillian Pelosa, keep riding, and hopefully we can catch one of your finishes. Let's check in with the live stream channel chat line here. Lots of activity going on. We have a big shout out to Bateman's to keep going. Go, go, go. Jeff Lawton says, hammer down, Matt Randall. So keep that going. Fired up Team Bateman's. Lots of support for the Bateman's Bicycle Co. team. We had Valeria Duarte asking to show the U17, so we just did. It's a bit hard to find all of them. It's such a small group. Chances are they end up all riding separately, and it's not the easiest interface to get it. So hopefully we caught who you were looking for there. And, it looks like Sagan had heard his name, and he got a big smile on his face. So glad we were able to show you, Sagan, on the screen there. Keep going, ride hard, and finish that race. Let's head on over and try to find our elite and master women in the E group. See if I can find our master women's leader, Paulina Allen, as she is likely to be in the front group there. See if I can get the companion app once again to connect with me. No such luck, so I'm going to go and try to find them through. Here we go. Shauna Novak, Paulina Allen with our E group, our master and elite women. I'm not getting any data from Zwift as to what their position is. I am guessing, though, that they are leading out our elite women. 22 kilometers into the race for Shauna Novak. Means they're on lap number 3. Three to go. 5 laps total. Sorry, lap number 4. My mistake. Did that math wrong on that one. Last time through, they saw 3 to go. And they're on the cobbles at the moment, which means they are heading towards the big climb. Turning left, they'll be crossing the river shortly, and then everyone will be looking to get together and climb. Looks like there's lots of different riders in this group. We can see about 20, 25 riders in this group. A mixed bag of A riders, some E's, and some D riders. These groups are able to stay together because on the flats, no one is really pushing it. Watching Shauna Novak right now, putting out about 250 watts. As we hit the climb, you're going to see this group. Let's go to the overhead. You're going to see it just rubber band and expand out as those A groupers are just riding off, and our mixed group of E's and D's are now getting spread out the back. Novak and Allen still together, 1-2 likely on this race. Power-ups being used. Novak out of the saddle, climbing this 8% grade. It's short, but it's steep. You see Gabby Eady, our top E3 woman, just behind now, about 7 seconds gap from Allen and Novak. Here we go. Novak coming around the bend after the climb, heading into the big 10 to 11% descent. Getting into the drops. Looking to catch up to Allen, who's put some distance on her. About 5 seconds on this descent right now. Coming around to the bottom and crossing the river. They'll come around to the start corral and the finish. Take note, riders, this is about where the action will start for the final sprint. Three to go for the women coming up shortly as Novak and Allen are around the final bend towards the side of the river. 26.6K is where the finish line is, so we're about just under 2 kilometers to go. So you're going to see some of these final sprints being lined up in this section here. And then especially after they cross the bridge, the savvy rider who's got a long sprint might be starting their final sprint for the finish before the bridge, but most will be doing it after in the final 500 to 800 meters. See if I can move down the list and find a few more of our women racers. Gabby Eady here, sitting at 24.2 kilometers into the race. It looks like she is our lead Elite 3 woman. Evelyn Gagnon in the race, just behind Gabby Eady. Few A riders here. Franny Jewett, our lead Elite 1-2 woman on the course right now, coming down the descent after the big climb. Here we go. Kelly Cullen, one of our master women. She might be sitting in third place overall. I'm not getting data from Zwift at the moment. Still seeing just totals here. Seem to have jumped back into the A race. Let me see if I can find our E women again. Not the easiest interface. Okay, here we go. Paulina Allen coming in with 1K to go. So take note of the surroundings if you're watching the live stream right now. This is the 1K to go mark before the final sprint. So depending on what kind of wattage you have and what kind of length you can do a sprint, take note of your surroundings and try to mark out where exactly you want to launch your final sprint. Shauna Novak still with Allen, so it's a 1-2, likely going to be a final sprint between those two once again. I thought I saw Franny Jewett down there. Holly Clark from Toronto Hustle mixing it up here, one of our E3 women. As everyone starts coming back together, Sarah Elliott from Highgate Racing in the tuck, trying to make up some time and get back to that group. Hannah Spence from Highgate Racing still on the climb, along with Kelly Cullen. Dylan Baker from Attack Racing on the climb at the moment. Let's give her a thumbs up. Ariane Arsenault, one of our E1-2 women, on the climb at the moment. And it looks like everything is spreading out. I see riders from all different categories. Here comes what looks like the lead in the B group coming through our view at the moment. All right, well, the system has put me back into the A group, and I can see Mr. Bruce Bird from our E1-2 group. This is the lead, so let's follow them. 36.3 kilometers into the race. That means they just saw 5 to go. Completed 3 laps, 5 more to go for our Elite 1-2 men and Master 1 men. Just over 45 minutes into the race, so it looks like they will be doing just under 2 hours for the race today, if my math is correct. And it's not. I just looked at it again, and they saw 4 to go. So they are just halfway through the race now. So about an hour and a half, 90 minutes, which is exactly what we're looking for when we set up these races. Roughly 90 minutes for the A group, and then we adjust the other laps to give everyone else somewhere between an hour and a half of racing here in the virtual world. A nice overhead view of our lead group of A riders. Jojo Rusinek, Jason Henry, Brad Parsons from Techie Kids, Kai Johnson, CCF, still with the group. A few riders choosing the Bumblebee jersey there. That's a neat little jersey you get for going the distance in Zwift in your training. A few riders even riding personalized jerseys, as you can see Bruce Bird here wearing the team draft jersey, along with his co-teammate there, Jason Henry, both wearing the draft kit. So some of these pro Zwift teams are able to get customized jerseys to ride with. We didn't get to see the A group go through the climb last time, so we'll stay with them as they cross the river once again to get onto the cobbles and to see how this group does the leg snapper. See if we can find out exactly how far back the next A group is. Looks like the closest A rider is about 47 seconds behind, 50 seconds. And then another 40 seconds for the next A rider. So it looks like this lead group doesn't have much of a chase happening for them right now. Let's flip back up to them. Not a huge amount of attrition from our race leaders in the A group. We'll see if the next time up the leg snapper thins out this pack a little bit more. All right, we're heading into the old part of Innsbruck. Anton Varabai now in our sights from the Toronto Hustle team. A lot of our OCA riders making their way to the front so that they can be prepared for the big climb the next time over the river. While we wait for them to get to the river, let's take a look at our standings in the E12 Master 1 race. Starting with the Master 1, Brad Parsons from Techie Kids is leading the way with 103 points. Carlos Rodriguez has 92 points in second place. Lawrence Acott, who's not racing today, from the Techie Kids team, he currently has 85. Tied for fourth place. In third is Oaken Work with 87 points. Lawrence and Jojo Rusinek are tied for fourth with 85 points. In sixth place, Chris Hurton from Techie Kids, 73. Seventh is Adam Galt from the Huntsville Mountain Bike Association, 69 points. Andrew Bazell in ninth with 26, and Adam Hawley rounding out the top 10 with 27 points. Speaking of Adam Galt and the Huntsville Mountain Bike Association, one of the things that this Zwift racing can do is allow people from far away to come together really easily, virtually, and race together. In our E1-2 point standing, Kai Johnson from CCF has 100 points for first place. Greg Boileau in second with 91. Laurent Risser in third with 86. Bruce Bird is fourth with 82. And Connor White is in fifth with 74. All right, now that they cross the bridge, let's take a look at the group and see how they do as they come up to the famed leg snapper. There you go. You see those numbers climbing on the map. They are now around the bend and into the climb at 8%. and riders are just getting left behind. They just passed a bunch of other riders from different groups who have been strung out. Let's take a look at the overhead view here, and it's starting to thin out. Some riders have the power. They are moving up, and other riders are struggling to stay on the back. You can see a few riders there just coming out the back. Hopefully they will be able to stay on for their sakes and make up some time on the descent. Looking at some of these numbers here, the A riders are putting out between 7.5 and 8.5 watts per kilogram to get up this climb and to try to get away as they come around and head down the bend to get some sweet relief from the descent. All right, let's tune in with our B racers. See if I can find the lead group here. Oh, looks like there we go. All right, it looks like I found our lead group of B riders. They are now 35.9 kilometers into the race. That means they just saw they just saw 4 to go, which means they have completed 3 laps. Sorry, they just saw 3 to go, and they have completed 4 laps, so 3 more to go for these riders as they just came through the finish line. Lots of our top riders still in the group here. We've got Yanni Beck, Le Peddler, along with Michel Barbeau, seems I've lost them again. Not the easiest interface to use when it jumps around. There's our A riders. Unfortunately, I'm not getting any detail on position here, so let's see if I can use the app. At the moment, we've got our C riders. This is James Allison. Last time we checked in, he was our leader. He's also still with Batista Merida, Adam Smart, William Trishuk. So it looks like they have whittled down the lead group to our top riders in the Elite Four Master 3 group. They're passing by the start corral area, heading towards the finish. Our C riders will be seeing 2 to go this time. Oh, excuse me. I've got all these backwards. It's actually 1 to go. They should be getting the bell now. Let's see if there's a lap counter here. Other courses, we saw a nice little lap counter. Total distance for these riders, 44.2 kilometers. So this is the final lap for our Zwift C Group Master 3 and Elite 4 men. 1 to go. One more time, up the climb, down the hill, and then the final sprint along the river. Let's see if I can find those B riders again. These groups are starting to get really split up, so it's hard to find a distinct group in some of these lower categories. Our A riders, once again, they're currently at 45 kilometers, which means they are in the 3 to go mark. So 3 to go for our Zwift A riders. Looking at Enrique Martins right now, one of our U17 men who's coasting because he has just finished the race. Good job, Enrique. And I have been kicked out there, so I'm heading back to my vantage point here in the start corral, see if I can get on some of the other riders. For those of you just joining us now, welcome to the OCA Indoor Road Racing Series, a live stream. This is a race number 6 in the Innsbruck Ring course on Zwift. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you can get notifications every time that we go live. And if you want to support the channel, head on over to buymeacoffee.com/ARC events, ARCEVENTS. You can find the link in the description, and it is on screen right now as we are trying to find our races again. One of the things about Zwift is that if you are watching a rider in a race and they finish, you may get booted out of the race view and aren't able to find out what's happening on the other riders. So I'm going to see if I can pull up a few other ones. While we wait. All right, we're back. In the view right now, I've got Oaken Work, one of our Master 1 men, in one of the chase groups of the A race. All right, one more time. Let's see if we can find that B group. Pretty easy to find the A group as they are all still together. 47.7 kilometers into the race, 3 laps to go. And it looks like Bruce Bird is on a solo break now, trying to drop everybody before he gets to the next climb. Currently about 12 to 15 seconds. Coming down slightly now. Brad Parsons working really hard to reel in Bruce, even though they are on different categories for the OCA race. I think he wants to help bring Bruce back. Solid effort. You can see the pack there in the back as we panned around Bruce with the camera angle here. See if we can get the forward angle. There we go. You can see the group right behind him there working really, really hard as Bruce is digging deep. 440 watts right now, trying to get to that climb first. Just ahead now, we've got our C group. They are coming up to 40 kilometers right now, so let's stick with them as their finish will be next. And then we'll check back in with Bruce to see if he was able to get to the climb before the A riders. If we stay here, we'll have a nice little view of that. You can see Bruce just behind them, about 10 seconds on the clock right now. James Allison leading out the cobbles. Checking the overhead now. It looks like Bruce has joined the group. Sitting in, taking maybe a little bit of a rest. There he is, mixing it up with our C riders. No, he's just going to blow right through him, working on his effort to stay away from the A group. Anton Rabbi is at the front there. Still about 12 seconds separating Bird and the A groupers as he hits the climb now. And you can see his wattage just fly off the chart right now, hitting almost 600 watts. There you go, 600 watts going up this hill. He is just powering, hoping to get around and hit the descent and use this gap to his advantage. He's coming up to 50 kilometers right now. So when he comes around and hit the finish line, he'll have 2 to go. We'll see if he can time trial his way to a victory, much like he has in previous events, more notably doing really well at national championships in Canada by employing this very same tactic. And it looks like the A group has caught up with him, so it looks like Bruce just wanted to get to the hill so that he would not get dropped by some of these riders and can maintain the distance. Let's see if I can fall back here and find our C riders. Here we go. James Allison coming around the top right now. He's still got Dobos, Trishuk, and Smart with him. 40.9 kilometers, meaning we are looking at 3.2 kilometers now left in this race. So we'll stay with this group here for the next few minutes to find out how it plays out as they are zooming down the climb, nearing 70 kph. And it looks like Allison is putting some distance on some of his competitors. Still has Dobos with him, but Trishuk and Smart have now fallen off. Trishuk about 13 seconds back, and Smart along with them. We'll just quickly take a look at those two. Are coming around the top right now to hit the descent. They're going to have to work really hard to pick up Allison and Dobos if they want to have any chance of being on the podium there with them. So at the moment, it looks like Allison and Dobos are going to be 1-2 in the Ontario race. They've got another rider from somewhere else in the world working with them. So a little bit of a draft for those two riders as they come around. 42 kilometers now, 44.2 total, so 2.2 kilometers left, coming up to the 2K mark now. Trishuk now 17 seconds back along with Smart. Allison and Dobos now catching up to one of our top C racers, Batista Merida. So it looks like it's going to be Dobos, Merida, and Allison now top 3. And they're starting to wind it up. Pace is getting a little bit higher. And they're crossing the bridge for the final time. Here we go. $1K to go. The sprint is nigh. Here we go. 5 riders now battling it out. Merida, Dobos, and Allison from the Ontario crew looking at each other right now, trying to see who's going to go first. 800 meters to go. When does the sprint start? Did they pick the right tree? Allison now in front of Merida. Dobos coming around the left. 500 meters to go. Marita still in front. Is he going to take it this time, or will Allison or Dobos come around for victory? And now they're coming around the final bend before the finish. They can see the corral on the left. That means they're a few hundred meters away from the finish. You can see the final arch in sight now. And there goes the power up, and they're launching. Marita out of the saddle. Allison still in front by a little bit, and Allison is moving away. What an excellent sprint from Allison. And Dobos comes around. Looks like it's going to be Allison Dobos. And it was Allison Dobos, Marita 1, 2, 3 in our C rate. All right, let me see if I can find our elite women, as they are likely the ones to finish next if they already haven't. Here we go, Paulina Allen. I saw that name. Got Rosa Phillip from Midweek Cycling Club on the screen right now. Doing well. Keep going, Rosa. See if I can pick up Paulina and Shauna Novak, likely still together. Here's Evelyn Sifton sitting 14th overall. She's on 1 to go. About 7 kilometers left for Sifton, Gonzalez, and Baker in the group together. Let me move on up to see if I can find our leaders in the women's categories. Here we go. Sarah Elliott sitting 9th overall right now, 39.2 kilometers into the race. About 5K to go for Sarah. Hannah Spence a little bit ahead. About 5K to go, coming up to the big climb. Chantel Thompson on course right now, working really hard. Holly Clark from Toronto Hustle sitting 6th overall. About 4K to go for Holly, riding with, checking our list. That is Anne-Marie Carter-McCaud. And Noemi Gaudreau, one of our Quebecois riders. We have welcomed our neighbors to the east to our series. A few of them have joined us for the OCA race series, so it's good to see everyone out. Give a couple of ride-ons here. All right, let's see if I can move up. Franny Jewett, one of our top E12 riders, sitting 5th overall. She is now on the descent, already been through the climb, so she's going to be working hard to hold this position. Moving on up, we've got our B riders. They are also coming into the finish, so our lead A's and B's will be finishing around the same time. Looks like Diego Maya is there. Kingston, Moyer, Graham Page, they'll be finishing in just a little under 2K from here. Evelyn Gagnon, 4th. Moving on up, trying to find. There's Gabby Eady, 3rd. I might have missed the finish for Novak and Allen. So let's pull back to our B riders. We got Graham Page in our sights. 51.6K into the race. Kilometer and a half or so to go as they come around the final bend. Page currently 1st overall in the B race. Enrico Magnati close behind Diogo Maia, Robert Thomas, Derek D'Angelo, all still here. So it looks like those 7 laps around the leg snapper didn't do much to separate these top riders from each other. Take a look at the overhead. Nice little compact group coming across the bridge over the river into the final sprint zone. With about a kilometer to go now. You can see some power-ups already getting used. Looking at the map on the top right corner. Once you see the corrals on the left side of the course, you know it's go time for many of these riders. We'll see when they decide to launch their final attack. Page moving up to the front, putting his nose into the wind. And there you go on the map. You can see those corral arrows coming. Enrico Magnani moving close to the front. Page falling back a little bit, 10th place position overall. Magnani near the front. D'Angelo going off the front, increasing his power now, 340 watts. Magnani right next to him. It's a nice long line. Some power-ups and ride-ons are happening. Here we go. Everyone's starting to wind it up now. As we're less than a couple 100 meters, you can see the finish arch. Magnani in third. Maia in front right now. Maia, Magnani mixing it up. It's going to be a big pack sprint to the finish. I won't be able to call this one. Maia, Page, still together. Looks like Page has moved up front a little bit. Kingston there. Who's the sprint going to go to? Looks like it might be Magnani taking the sprint. All right. Good job, everyone, in the B group. So we have our C race, the B race finished. The E racers are coming through now. Let's see if I can pick up some of these women crossing the line. Nicole Goudreau, 6th place right now. One of our top E12 women coming around. It's nighttime in the Zwift world. She's closely followed by Holly Clark, maybe about 30 seconds back in 7th position overall. Be sure to head on over to ontariocycling.org after the race. A few hours from now, we'll have all of the sorted results for the OCA Indoor Road Race Series. Zwift does generate results as well as Zwift Power, but they are everybody on those lists. We filter them down to just the OCA riders. So coming up to the final few kilometers for the elite women, total 44.2K. It looks like Goudreau will be finishing 6th overall in the race. Holly Clark coming in at 7th. Down the list, we've got Hannah Spence, 8th overall, coming down the finish stretch, along with Ella Fauché and Sarah Elliott. And Marie Carter-McCausland also on this list here at the bottom. Still powering hard, doing really well. See if I can find a few more of our women riders before we move back to the final race of the day to finish our elite men. Kelly Cullen now, 42.3 kilometers, coming around the final bend to the finish, along with Ariane Arsenault. They are sitting 12th and 13th, respectively. All right, congrats to all of our women racers today. Great job on the Innsbruck Ring course. So let me head on over and pick up our A racers and see how well they are. Last time we checked in, Bruce Bird was on a nice attack up to the leg snapper, trying to get away from the group, which then caught him at the top of the climb and headed on down. So it looks like we've got just a few riders here, about 8 or 9 riders in the group. And it includes Anton Varabai, Kai Johnson, Jason Henry, Brad Parsons, Jojo Rusinek. Looking for Bruce Bird. Is he still in this group? Might even be another group up ahead, because the front of this group is only 7th place. So let's see if I can scan ahead. Yes, it looks like there is a small breakaway happening right now, with Bruce Bird leading the charge, along with Connor White from Hamilton United and 2 other riders from the rest of the world. Checking in with our stats there, Connor White in 5th and Bruce Bird in 4th overall in the point series. So this looks like a solid move for these 2 riders to gather some points in the series. Let me pop down and see if I can find out how far away they are. Looks like about 45 seconds now between our lead group of A riders and the chase group, as they are coming around the finish line right now, seeing 1 to go. Getting the bell now is Bruce Bird and Connor White. Bruce Bird riding for Draft Cycling in the Zwift world, Connor White with Hamilton United in the real world. Bruce tends to ride with the Wheels of Blur team when he's riding locally in the real world in Ontario. Unfortunately, we have no in-life racing happening in Ontario due to the Corona-19 pandemic happening right now. Most of the races in Ontario and in Canada have been canceled up until even early August, so it doesn't look like we will have much of a road season, but we'll see as the weeks move on if restrictions get lifted, if any semblance of a road season can be resurrected. Cross still hasn't been decided yet. There might be a cross season, there might not be. We'll see how things move along, but hopefully we get back to some indoor racing. And then over the winter, maybe track and maybe some more of this indoor racing that we've been doing here on Zwift. It seems to be fairly popular and can certainly turn out to be a interesting new sub-discipline in cycling. So here we go, crossing the water for the first time on the final lap here. Our breakaway group of White and Bird sitting about 45 seconds away from their competition. Let's see if we can zoom back in on them. Anton Varabai leading the charge here. Yeah, still about 40 seconds now. This group is comprised of Varabai, Henri, Johnson, Rusinek. Nice little group of 9 riders here, working hard together, seeing if they can put some more wattage down and gather up that breakaway group before they have a chance to get to the finish. With close to a minute gap and less than 6 kilometers to go, that would be a hard breakaway to reel in, especially with those 2 powerhouse riders at the front. Our chase group of A riders now coming up on a big group of B riders looking to finish their race. They're just going to power right through them. And it looks like they are working really hard to bring in this tiny group of White and Bird, now only 37 seconds behind. But there's only about 6 kilometers left for Bird and White. So if they work really hard, they might be able to hold on to this. we'll be able to tell once they get to the leg snapper whether or not the riders in the chase group have the legs left to get up and reduce that distance between our breakaway of White and Bird, who are now splitting up a little bit. Bird is now moving off the front with a few seconds on White. Let's see if we can click in with Bird here. From the front view, he's putting some distance on his riding companions. They don't have quite the same draft that they did when they were working together a bit earlier, crossing the bridge for the second time as they come around to hit the cobbles before the final climb. For those of you still watching the live stream, glad to still have you with us now that we're approaching the 90-minute mark in the live stream. We're glad that you were able to join us today on this broadcast of the OCA Indoor Road Race Series number 6 in Innsbruck Ring. This is race number 4 of 6. I'll have to actually verify that quickly. Race number 4 of 6 in our series. 2 more points races coming up, 2 more races in the series. There may be some more racing after this. We'll see how things go at the end of this series, so stay tuned for that. And of course, like and subscribe this channel. It's under my name, Andrew Paradowski, if you want to get notified every time we have a new live stream. And of course, if you want to support this live stream, keep it going, be sure to head on over to buymeacoffee.com/ARC events. That's ARCEVENTS. And give us a little donation to keep the stream nice and healthy. Right now, looking at the overhead view of our A racers, the final group on the road right now, Bruce Bird and Connor White with a breakaway on the other racers in the group. Heading back, looks like they're now still under 40 seconds as they're getting a cobble section right now and heading towards the final climb up the leg snapper. Beautiful view of Innsbruck and the Austrian mountains in the background. Looking down the long stretch, can't quite see the group behind them, so it certainly is a solid gap for White and Bird as they're coming up to the final turn before the bridge and onto the big climb. There we go, the breakaway is across the bridge now. And you can see that percentage going up as our lead riders are hitting the climb. Bruce Bird coming around the side, trying to power his way up. Wattage going up the dial now, hitting 550 watts. Not quite as high as we saw earlier in the race, but still an impressive number. And it looks like we have Adam Galt coming up right now, one of our Master 1 riders. He's only 10, 11 seconds back as they are also on the climb. See if you can see them from the back now. Bird and White together now. And they've come around the final climb. They've made it up the climb. Here we go. I found our breakaway group. Kai Johnson, Anton Barabai. Still about 40 seconds back. So it looks like it's going to be a Bird, White, 1-2 for our A race and Elite 1-2 men. Now about 50 seconds back, but those guys will make up that distance on the climb. Kai Johnson, E12, Jojo Rusinek, Anton Barabai. And Brad Parsons. So Rusinek and Parsons looks like our 1-2 for the Master 1 men. Let's move on up and bring in Bird and White. Looks like Bruce has put a little bit of distance to Connor. A couple of seconds now. Look at the overhead view. Don't see him there. There you go. There's the group right now. Bruce has a nice little advantage coming around to the final few K. He is putting down the wattage, 720 watts. Bruce is looking to time trial his way to victory here. We'll see if White can keep up. It looks like he is doing well as well. Connor White putting out 9 watts per kilogram right now, trying to chase down Bruce. This might have been the decisive move. We'll see how it plays out. And Bruce still doing well. A few seconds ahead of Connor White. Bruce now across the river for the final time. He's got the finish in his sights. Connor White and the other 2 riders, not from the OCA, in the A group, still behind Bird by about 3 seconds. Bruce is still holding on to the wattage now in the mid to high 500s. In the map on the top right here, you can see the corrals coming around. I think he might do it. Bruce Bird for the win. Just a little over 90 minutes into this race. And he's even put more time now on White, who is now 10 seconds back. What a move. As I said, the right move before the bridge on the final turn can be decisive, and it looks like this will be decisive for Bruce Bird. Bruce's teammates, Jay Henry, is now 50 seconds back, and he is with that chase group, so it looks like it will still be a Bird White 1-2, and Bird is putting on his aero boost now, getting his speed up to 52 kilometers an hour. He can see the arch in his sights, and if he could, he would look back and he would see this, that there's no one behind him, and it's going to be a victory for Bruce Bird as he crosses the line. Connor White just behind him. All right, let's check in with our chase group. It's Jojo Rusinek, Brad Parsons, Kai Johnson, Anton Varabai. Some riders now choosing to use their draft boosts. Let's take a look at the overhead. Oh, and it looks like one rider is going off the front. That looks like Jay Henry going for the sprint. And it looks like he's going to take it. Jojo Rusinek, Anton Varabai all together now. And they're all crossing the line. Good job, everyone. We got our B riders in our backpack also finishing right now. Well, that's the big finish. Congratulations, everyone, on a big race. There are still riders on the course, so if you are still racing, go hard, race hard. Hopefully you had a lot of fun today on the Innsbruck Ring course here as part of the OCA Indoor Road Race Series. This was race number 6. Rob Visser, if you're still watching the live stream and you want to come on in for some post-race analysis, just give us a ring on the Zoom. It's the same meeting, and we'll get you talking. All right, while we're waiting to see if Rob is going to come back, just a quick wrap-up. We had an excellent race here today at OCA Indoor Road Racing Series number 6 in Innsbruck Ring. We had all 5 groups take to the course today. Our A racers doing 8 laps, B racers doing 7 laps, the C's doing 5, the D's doing 4, and our E women group doing 5. So that was a 70.6, 50, 61.8, 44.2, and 35.4 kilometers for each of those distances. The leg snapper proved to be decisive in some groups and not so much in other groups. You saw a lot of the big power riders still maintain a fairly coherent group almost right up into the end, and we saw that in the C group and the D group for sure. The C group and the B group. D group, we had quite a small number of riders, and they all split up fairly quickly, so hopefully everyone had a good race for themselves, and we were glad that we were able to see some of them on the live stream today. But in our C and B group, a lot of those top riders were managed to stay together and come into the finish of the sprint, or the finish of the race altogether. So not a lot of selection at the top of each field, but there certainly was some selection at the back of each of those fields for the big climb and the leg snapper after they crossed the bridge there in Old Innsbruck. Interesting move in the A race today, of course. We had Bruce Bird and Connor White work on a breakaway together and managed to put some distance, about 30 to 45 seconds on our chase group of A riders. We weren't able to capture that live, but we did see the outcome of that. So that was a decisive move for White and Bird to get away from their close rivals in the A group. And then coming around to the finish, Bruce Bird put the hammer down with about a kilometer to go. It looks like he put that effort in maybe about 100, 200 meters before the final turn onto the bridge into the final stretch before the finish. And as I mentioned at the beginning of today's stream, that might be a good place if it's timed right and you have the power to put down a time trial like that. Might be a decisive victory for anyone who's willing to take the risk. Bruce took the risk, and it paid off for him with a victory in the A group. And it looks like he's going to gather those points and move on up. So be sure to check out the results as they're posted a little bit later this afternoon, and then we'll have our series points up early this week. So be sure to check those out. They're all available on ontariocycling.org under the results section in a PDF form. So check that out later today for results. Big shout out to the OCRR group. If you guys want to post the results there, once the link is up, I'll see if I can get it there. Check it out. Thanks to everybody for coming out. Thanks to the OCA for helping put on these races. Big shout out to Chantel Thompson for getting a result for me so that we can actually do this. And also to Rob Visser today, who came on the stream and was providing some insight from the B race. So hopefully we can get more of that in the coming weeks. If you like what you saw here, head on over and click subscribe and hit the little bell button to get notified every time we do a live stream. And then you can watch along with me as we give some commentary on the race. And also, if you like what you saw here and you want to see more of this live stream action and you want to donate to support the cause, head on over to buymeacoffee.com/ARC events. That's ARC events with an S at the end. The link is in the description of the YouTube video as well as on the intro and outro cards for this live stream show. So let me check in one more time to see if we have Rob on the line. It looks like he hasn't joined, so that's all right. Thanks anyways for the mid-race report that we got from Rob, and thanks to everyone for watching, and have yourself a great weekend, and get some solo, socially distanced riding out there in the meantime, and we'll see you all next week as we bring you OCA Indoor Road Race number 7.